What's up, guys? It is it's the second week of 2020. I didn't have the greatest start to 2020. Unfortunately, we had some family stuff to deal with at the start of the year, and then I got the flu, but now I'm feeling better and I'm ready to get after it. One of those things that I was just thinking about the new year is it brings about so much motivation. Like, I'm so motivated to hustle and get after it and go for it. One of the things that I've always kind of found in my life, at least, is having to hold myself back a little bit. And that's something that I find very interesting and maybe not talked about as much because everything is go, 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 motivation, motivation. I do think in general in the world, we do all need a little bit more motivation and inspiration. We get stuck in our comfort zones. We need to get outside of that. However, there is something where you go too far outside of your comfort zone, or you get really, really stressed out and you burn out. And so one of the things that I am so inspired to share about and to create content about and maybe just shed more of an awareness and a light on is preventing burnout. Preventing burnout is something that's so important to me because I've experienced it quite a few times with a few different passions and things that I've actually done. So as some of you may know, I was a national team snowboarder for 4 years, and unfortunately I just kind of burnt out on it. I kind of fell out of love with it, and looking back now that I've really, my passion for snowboarding has come back and I love doing it, I've realized that some of it was because I had a lot of injuries, and that was a main reason of why I stopped. Concussions and different injuries were definitely something that were on the top of my mind. I broke my ribs my last year, broken my tailbone, had multiple concussions that I was worried about. And I also had other passions that I was getting interested in. However, I think I was definitely, putting a lot of stress and pressure on myself. And I think as high performers, that's something that we all need to kind of think about or be conscious about is, are we pushing ourselves too hard? Are we pushing ourselves in the right time? Or is it, maybe the wrong time to be pushing? And if I make this relation back to fitness and health is, if you have a coach who's writing your gym training program for those who are into the gym and training, you might have some sort of periodization where you're building stress. And by the way, it's physical stress. That's what you do in the gym is you're putting stress, physical and actually mental, on your body. And you're building it, and then you're taking maybe a deload or some sort of rest to actually make those gains that you've been working on, recover and prepare for the next foundation. So you're taking a step back so that you can take 4 steps further. And you're always doing that before you reach the point of burnout. And that's something that's so important in life, and I think we all actually forget because life gets so busy that it really does feel like you're constantly saying, I just need to get through this week. Next week will be less stressful. And we say that for 80 years, and that's just how it goes. And I don't think life has to be like that. I think we should all look at our own schedules and calendars and almost periodize times when we know things are going to get busy. Whether you're an entrepreneur or you work a 9 to 5 or you're a shift worker or whatever, when work might get stressful, and to kind of plan and expect for those times. I know when my clients have events or different things that are going to be busy, I can then plan out when I'm looking to grow my business in different months, or when I'm looking to go away or travel or different things according to that. If I go and I can work when I'm traveling. However, if I'm doing that during the busiest time of the year for some of my client work, I'm going to be working the whole time and not enjoying it, and then I'm going to get very stressed, and people will be like, oh my gosh, you went on this vacation and you come back burnt out more than when you left. So that's just something that I think is important to look at, is to look at your schedule and almost periodize in rest, and that includes mental rest. And that can be on a macro perspective, that's certain months, weeks, years, whatever. But on a micro perspective, I think that needs to be almost put into your day and your week. Because if you just go when you're feeling good, that is great. In the gym, they say, strike while the iron is hot, try to go for a max lift or a PR when you're feeling really, really great. But if you just keep doing that every time you feel great and all of a sudden you just crash and burn, it's not that great. Like, that's why you have a specific program, and yes, you can go a little bit outside of that if you're feeling really good or you're having a rough day and you know that it's not wise to push through, because sometimes of course you need to push through. Then you kind of put the reins in and hold back. And I think by having that restraint, especially for people who want to accomplish so much and feel so rushed, and that's another thing. Like, don't let the internet rush you. No one is posting their failures. So and that's unfortunate, because we learn more as humans from failures. Like, failures are what we all critique of other people, and we learn more about that, and we learn about what not to do. Very similar to learning what we don't like helps us learn what we do like. It's the same way. We learn through failures, and I wish more people actually shared those. Anyways, I got off on a little bit of a side tangent, but just so important to know that it's okay to rest as hard as you hustle. Taking that time off, trying to get balance in your life is just so important, and that comes from, having a plan, maybe scheduling, and knowing your limits and your values, and sticking to that. If you know you need to cut off work at, say, 7 p.m. at night or whatever you're always on, and you consistently don't do that, you need to know that when you get really, really stressed and you experience that period where you're approaching burnout, like, the decisions that led you there, and you can learn from that and go back. And whether you learn from that because you're journaling or you're using an app or a program or something, and if you have any ideas or best practices around that, I'd love to hear from you about what you guys use to kind of learn and get that feedback on yourself, because it's just so important to see what happened. Why did you experience burnout? Why didn't you get as much stuff as you thought done? Or why did you get so much done and then had a week where you didn't? You can actually relate that down to the actual habits that you have, and that's just something that I've always ingrained in my routine, and sometimes I definitely fall out of it. I know last year I definitely had a period where I was experiencing burnout and pushing through it, and I had to give up something, and in that it was kind of my training. I hurt my shoulder, a non-training related injury, and then it just wasn't healing, and I think it was my body's way of telling me, like, hey, you can't try to be elite at so many things at once. You need to set proper expectations, manage your expectations, like knowing if your expectations are just unrealistic, because I'm always about setting like unrealistic goals and die trying. Used to be a quote I really like to put up on my wall or say to myself. However, it's not healthy if it's actually truly unrealistic. So you want to set big goals, but you need to be okay with the time frame and be like, okay, as long as I'm moving forward and making progress, I can't be upset about how long it takes to get to these goals. And if you have to put something aside to focus on one thing at a time to be able to achieve all those things in the look of a lifetime, because you can achieve so much in a lifetime, then I think it's totally worth it, because otherwise you're just moving really, really fast. You're getting a lot of stuff done, and all of a sudden you're burning out. And at the end of the year or the end of 10 years, someone might have made more progress by going slow and listening to their body and their mind, taking that rest and just continuously moving forward at their own pace, versus if you kind of just rushed everything and got a lot done and then had to take time off, and you kept doing that and you circled around and you bounced between things. Then it's almost a tortoise and the hare situation. So that's pretty much all I had to rant on to kind of kick off this year and kick off this all-in project. Make sure that you follow at the all-in project on Instagram. I'm going to be posting multiple times a day, like different thoughts and motivation and quotes and things from other high performers and entrepreneurs and athletes and different things like that. That's definitely a place to catch me. On YouTube at Natalie Allport, my business at 93 Agency. You can follow all those crazy things and crazy pursuits that I'm, trucking away with unrealistic but realistic expectations and managing my time working towards them. Go follow. Let me know what you think. Leave a review, leave a comment, and I appreciate it all. So thank you for listening.